Here is the one and only Stephen Hawking making his way to Epstein Island.
Hawking rolling in, run two.
Look at the speed building on that chair. He's locked
Big
in.
pump coming up the wall.
Oh, no, he didn't land it. As of course, these AI videos are just getting absolutely too ridiculous. You know what else is very ridiculous? The Ghislaine Maxwell situation. As of course, she just had a Supreme Court decision that made sure her appeal failed. Now, there's a lot of different things in the weeds down the rabbit holes that we are going to be going down in this particular video, explaining to you the very previous kind of weird statements, the pushes for a presidential pardon, which, let's be honest, could potentially happen here, as Maureen Comey's case here looks like it was able to be defended, as the arguments that were being made here were very interesting, to say the least here, as people are still potentially expecting her to testify to Congress, as Howard Lutnick, Epstein's former neighbor, just came out and issued a bombshell statement about Epstein, what was going on, and what was really happening here with this international child trafficking, blackmail, extortion operation that your tax dollars paid for, that we still don't know much about. Now, I had some very interesting conversations and debates with Tim Pool about this. We had one yesterday where we were walking and screaming at each other. It was fun, but I want to kind of go into his arguments. I'll go into my arguments. We have a kind of disagreement here, and I want to kind of get your guys' opinion and see who you think is right. So I will rehash those as fairly and as accurately as I can. And if you appreciate these type of videos, subscribe, click the notification button. As of course, this Supreme Court showdown between Ghislaine Maxwell and the biggest court in the United States was coming for a long time. And if you remember, when the whole Epstein debacle situation was happening, people were saying, no. It's because she's appealing. And because she's appealing, they can't release anything. They can't tell you anything. And they won't tell you anything because they want to make sure she stays in jail. And I'm like, I don't believe that, number one. Two, there's other information outside of her that needs to be released that people need to understand and see in order to get full accountability and justice here that we, of course, have not got. We got promised it. And a lot of victims got screwed over here. A lot of victims are pissed off here. And we're still having this being called a Democratic hoax when the victims are like, please don't call it that, as it's not. Trump was actually the one helping out the lawyers, the victims, all the way back in 2009 with their legal cases against the big financial institutions and Epstein's estate. And now it looks like that we're dealing with a totally different situation. All those people, now this is where, listen, all those people who are like, no, it's because of the Supreme Court case and the appeal why we're not getting in the document. All those people should feel ashamed of themselves and should publicly apologize today. Will they? No. Because everyone's going to be like, oh, well, technically I didn't say, yeah, you did. 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 Sorry. I just find it personal because I think our intellect is being just attacked here in many disingenuous, horrible ways, to the point where it's just absolutely disrespectful for anyone who's paying attention here. Now, this showdown happened, as Ghislaine Maxwell was saying, this sweetheart deal of a lifetime and non-prosecutorial agreements in Florida made by a former Trump administration member that was fired for giving them the sweetheart deal of a lifetime when he was the Attorney General of Florida. That was grounds for her not to be prosecuted. So she was saying this crazy deal that was given to us, this insane deal that violated federal law and authority, this crazy deal that allowed Epstein to walk in and out of jail, have his own private wing of it, that didn't even have him, that was supposed to have him registered as an S offender, never did, didn't have to follow any of the protocols, didn't have to follow any of the rules, just clear outright. And then Epstein's estate won the lotto. They won the lottery. They won millions of dollars in New Mexico. Zorro Ranch that the FBI never went into. When we look at even the scope of the first initial charges, they were extremely weirdly, oddly narrow, right? And they said, no, we'll do this prosecutorial agreement, but then you can't be prosecuted ever again. What? The victims won't be notified of anything afterwards. What? You'll only be charged for hiring ladies of the night. What? They were children. Underage children. Insane. And now she's saying this sweetheart crazy deal of a lifetime that was made by Donald Trump's former administration member, that this somehow is grounds for her not to be charged. And she was arguing, saying, look, it doesn't matter if I abused children or not, or if I procured them to clients that are still not known. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we had a non-prosecution agreement with Epstein. And because of Epstein, I was a part of Epstein and what he was doing, so I should not be prosecuted from here. The fact that there was a non-prosecution agreement afterwards is so crazy. And this was a part of him pleading guilty in Florida. That is crazy. Now, again, she was later charged by prosecutors in New York. Maureen Comey, by the way, as Ghislaine Maxwell's attorneys said, quote, we're, of course, deeply disappointed that the Supreme Court declined to hear Ghislaine Maxwell's case. Maxwell's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, said, but this fight isn't over. Serious legal and factual issues remain, and we will continue to pursue every avenue available to ensure that justice is done. Again, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers. The New York-based Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against Maxwell, finding that the agreement made with prosecutors in Florida did not bind the authorities in New York. Yeah, but this agreement is insane. It's a crazy deal. It's a crazy deal that they made here that absolutely deserves to be highly scrutinized, and it should be with every extent possible. Now, before talking about that and Trump's comments and Dershowitz and everything else that's going on here, we wanted to tell you about wearechange.shop. Really quickly, one of the best shops out there. I make sure I have some of the greatest, highest quality supplements. My first supplement that I started to take for my issues when I had anxiety, when I had panic attacks, when I was not feeling good, I was just like, what the hell's going on here? I feel like I'm getting a heart attack when I wasn't. And I'm like, I got to get my life in order. First, exercise, sleep, get good food in your system. Try to stay away from stress, meditate, and then supplement. I was like, I'm going to try all that, and I'm going to need the edge. Ashwagandha gave me the edge personally. There's some people that shouldn't take it. There's some people that incorrectly take it. All right. Long-term use, I don't recommend it. But when it comes to dealing with an extremely stressful part of your life, my friend was just prescribed ashwagandha. She was like, I'm freaking out. I'm dealing with so much stress. Doctor gave her ashwagandha. Cortisol levels went down. Cortisol levels go down. So does anxiety. So does mental stress. So does a lot of times belly fat and just overall happiness, longevity. As ashwagandha has a huge effect on cortisol. There's multiple studies talking about how it was able to slash it by up to 27%, greatly reducing anxiety and mental stress in, quote, test subjects. Now, other people are talking about how it is also a natural hormone stabilizer. Again, great hormone stabilizer shown for some women, some men. Some people shouldn't take it. I take it 1 month out of the year, and I feel great and amazing. It is my, booster. It is my... I wanted to say that thing. I can't on this particular part. It is my a little hack that I have implemented here. Great for testosterone. Great for men and women all alike here. Lots of different kind of benefits. Before taking anything into your body, make sure that you do your own homework and research on it. Again, it's an adaptogen used for 3,000 years. It helps with sleep, stress, energy, hormones, and man, I really like it. Now, again, don't use it for months without taking a break. Take breaks. And we have that on the bottle here. Now, the testosterone thing is very important. Sleep, absolutely important. Performance, also really important. This is, and again, I don't want to take steroids. I don't want to do any of that. I'll take some ashwagandha. Yeah, check it out. wearechange.shop. Now, let's go back to this very important conversation. As the Supreme Court said, yeah, no, Ghislaine, your 20-year sentence for recruiting and grooming underage children for absolutely nobody, that's just going to be upheld. As right now, Again, the non-prosecution agreement said co-conspirators are going to be shielded from future charges. And they're like, yeah, in Florida, this one's brought in New York. And that's what a lower court in New York argued. The Supreme Court's like, yeah, we're not doing this, honey. We are not doing this. As of course, now she's going to be remaining in prison for 20 years. Good behavior, 12, 13, maybe we'll see. But there's also the possibility of her getting pardoned, as we had Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, who also has been accused of putting pressure on the corporate media to stop talking about Epstein. He now is talking about how Ghislaine Maxwell should get a commutation because she was part of a victim of Epstein. What? As there's victims out there coming out and saying she was the worst. She was the kingmaker. She was the one calling all the shots here. Her father, Robert Maxwell, ties to, of course, many other intelligence agencies, just disappeared on his boat. Now, listen, will she get a commutation? Will she get pardoned? I think if Trump's going to do this, I think he might do this at the end of his term. And I'll tell you why, because there's been a lot of strange incidences like this.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Wish her well? Why are you wishing her well? And then he was asked about this again, and he doubled down. He was like, yeah, of course I want to wish her well. And again, her conviction, the whole case, every time something goes to the Southern District of New York, this is the case that officially gets covered up. This is the case where a lot of information about high-level, powerful people just disappears, and people get arrested for procuring children to absolutely nobody. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell still was transferred from an okay jail to a really cushy Fed jail in Texas. Now, she gets to go on leisurely strolls. She gets to go to yoga classes. She gets to play with puppies. They have a puppy service dog program there. Okay? Puppy service dog program. It's like, hey, hang out with puppies and train them. What? Camp Cupcake. The move, extremely weird, extremely strange, and something that has, according to a lot of legal, never really ever has been done before. People are like, what? This never happens. Like, this is not supposed to happen. I don't know why it happened. But it's pretty clear someone from the top down at the DOJ says, okay, yeah, we interviewed her. We got some parts of that interview out there. Yeah, let's give her a really nice, cushy Fed experience here, which is wild. Wild. That's the strange aspect of it, and why there's a big chance that she might be commuted. Now, there's still some conversations about her potentially testifying to Congress. So far, she created a list of demands. She said, I want to be heard in the Supreme Court. I want nothing to be used against me if I do testify. Congress disagreed with that, and then Congress never approved that. And then, of course, that never happened. And now we have Howard Lutnick coming out and saying some really bombastic things in what looks like a New York Post interview. As Glenn Greenwald says, I know everyone has been told to forget about this little trivial, inconsequential Jeffrey Epstein thing. But there's a lot going on here in terms of Howard Lutnick's claim in light of Trump's administration assertions that Epstein was, quote, the greatest blackmailer ever.
Jeffrey Epstein was your neighbour. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about him. East 71st Street. He was your neighbour for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right. So we are in number 11 and he lives in number 9.
Right.
So we renovate, we buy our house, and our house is pigeons and mice.
Right.
Okay. That's it. It was derelict.
Right.
So we rebuild our house. We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 2008, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. So my wife and I go next door.
He was at Cantor Fitzgerald, by the way, one of the biggest firms out there that, of course, was devastated after what happened in New York City in 2001.
We walk the 7 steps,
Yes.
right, to the next house for coffee. We share a wall,
Right.
right? So it's in New York City. So he invites us in. We have coffee in this, and he says, "Do you want a tour?" We said, "Great." He's
Interesting.
got a really big house.
Every room you went into?
He's got. Well, I'll tell you. So his house is like super big,
It had a whole surveillance room with security cameras rigged up everywhere, including the toilets.
really wide. And so he gives me a tour in the living room, big living room. And then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room.
Yeah.
And he opens the doors and there's a massage table in the middle of the room.
Ooh.
And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, "Massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage?"
He was a freak, and Epstein would like literally, in front of other people, just start jacking it and making eye contact during the middle of plane rides. That Bill Clinton was on.
And he says, "Every day." And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, "And the right kind of massage."
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and
That's how he would. They would recruit the children, and be like, "Do you want to give massages to this creepy dude?" And that's how it all started. That's where it all went down.
I look at her and we say, "I'm sorry, we have to go." And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Now, it has to be something more. Let's be honest. Oh, yeah, I get massages. Okay. There had to be something else, right? That they saw that they're probably not telling us. Let's just be real.
So I was never in the room with him.
But he gives off very creepy vibes.
Social.
Melinda Gates was like, yeah, he was so creepy, and Bill Gates just wouldn't stop hanging out with him.
For business or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
And he was everywhere. He was working on creating a new surveillance tech with the former prime minister of Israel, meeting up with Peter Thiel.
And so I look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
He gave me a gift.
Yes.
Of a voice. And so, yeah,
So
that's my story. A one and absolutely done.
Right. So, I mean, that's an incredible story that you could pick up that he was a pervert.
It's gross. The guy's gross. Right with my wife. He's gross. The guy's gross. This was not, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not
This is the big part.
see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
No, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume was on video.
Yep, and then they had children do it. And listen, this is the big part. This is huge right here. All right? This is big. He's admitting, Bill Gates, He was getting down and dirty.
That guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
The greatest blackmailer ever.
Blackmailed people. That's how he had money.
So what happened to
Billions of dollars.
those videos? Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when, they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender. How could he get 18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
And have you talked to Donald Trump about this and shared your theory?
No, I mean, he knows the story.
Right.
But my story, that, I was one and done with the guy. He knows that story, but that's it.
He would have been interested in that story.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just a story. It's just a one and done. That guy, ugh.
And did Trump feel the same way about him?
I don't speak to him about
Yeah.
these kind of, these are just distractions.
Now, Howard's comments here, greatest blackmailer ever, total creep. Everyone hanging out with him was kind of participating in all of the horrible, debaucherous behavior. I don't know if he thought this one through, but that has a lot of implications for Donald Trump, who was hanging out with him for a long time. Again, I didn't get a chance to kind of tell you about the arguments that I had with Tim. I'll get into that in another video. So subscribe, click the notification button. This is a topic that's not going away. I'm gonna keep talking about this, obviously. A lot of people are like, stop talking about it. I'm like, we have to talk about this. And if you agree, share this video. Thank you so much for checking out wearechange.shop, getting yourself some good ashwagandha, taking care of your health and personal wellness and fitness. Again, other people want to support booze and gambling. I want you to be better, stronger, fitter, healthier, happier. And because of that, I try to end every single broadcast by saying, I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.